2015 Ram 5.7 Hemi, doing a lifter and cam job, timing chain, and oil pump. This is the crank. Timing chain goes around the cam, or there's a phaser here. If you look, cam goes down in there, and the lifters come down through those holes all the way down onto the lobes of the cam, and they move up and down. I thought I'd just change out the timing chain since I'm this far. The lifters go here. Those are the pistons, so there's 4 in the front, 4 in the back on each side. The water pump goes over on the top. That's how it kind of sits, and the cam sits behind here. This is called a phaser. Timing chain that goes on the crank. This is your timing chain guide. Or actually, it's a tensioner. It sits over here, and this will sit like there, like the guide. And this actually springs out. When it springs out, it applies tension. I got it compressed with a drill bit holding it. I can pull that out, and I'm gonna throw those away, or I might sell them used, because they look, there's nothing wrong with them. Those grooves are normal. It's an oil pan gasket, timing chain cover. Here's the oil pickup tube. This screen sits down in the lower part of the oil pan, and then it runs over and it goes up to the oil pump. The oil pump is right here. That goes over that crank. Anyway, you get the picture. And on the other side of this timing chain, that's where the water pump sits. Here's the cam. This is the front of it where I was showing you, and then it just goes down the line. And the lifters ride on these lobes. He had a few bad lifters like this one. You can see it was kind of digging into it. And it also, it was bad, so if you notice it, it's rough. It's because it was hammering. The roller on the hydraulic lifter was just moving up and down. It was kind of hammering on it. Same with this one. And if you go through, it looks like there's one little bit here. So this lifter probably was going bad. Overall, it seems like the rest is pretty good. It just looks like it was in the back here. I'll show you the lifters. I got them covered so dust don't get too much. So here's the lifters. And these are the rollers that ride on those lobes. If you remember, on the top of that motor, there was 4 holes. That's where these sit down in, and then it just bolts with one bolt. It screws down with 1 bolt. And then on the top of these lifters, see that hole? Push rods go on top of those, and then they ride in here. And these hammer down on the valves. These are the heads. They got springs and valves right here. You got intake and exhaust. This is the intake, that's the exhaust. And then there's little channels like this where water passes through to keep the engine cool. And oil passes through here to keep everything lubricated. To keep all these lubricated, comes from the bottom of the pan up to the top. Well, this is actually the bottom. This would be facing down, so the oil would go up that way to this side and keep the valves lubricated, the push rods, the rocker arms, and also the oil will pass through the push rods through a hole and go through here, which would, in a sense, inside there's a little spring that goes up and down. This is the ones with the holes. These ones would push down and it would allow oil to pass through here. This is the MDS. Makes it a 4-cylinder rather than an 8-cylinder. I'm not going to get too much involved with that. But here, let me show you a bad lifter. This is a good lifter. I can't move it. This one, you can see it's already kind of like sunken down. But I can move this one up and down. The bearings are shot. They got like little tiny bearings in here. Yeah, they're not even there. It's like, see how I can move it up and down like that? Yeah, that's not good. And if you notice on the edge, it's shiny. It was rubbing in the cam. This one, a good one, it sits up and I can't move it up and down. You could probably see the bearings in there if you look good enough. See them in there? These tiny little things that run across on each side, all the way across. This one seems good. It seems like it's starting to wear. 195,000 miles. There was another one that was getting kind of bad. But yeah, you've seen the cam evidence. So that one that I showed you that was wore on the edge, right there, you can see it started to grind into it. It's sharp. Oh, I felt like I cut myself. So yeah, we ordered all the parts, but I didn't order a cam because I thought the cam was halfway decent. But since we're this far, it was foolish of me to think that it was good. About $300-400 for this piece right here. Now I could get a different type of cam to make it sound like it was like a hot rod. I could, depending on these lobes, the height, and the way they're shaped, depending, that's what gives you more horsepower or more speed. I mean, I could get a fancy one that would give me more speed, where it wouldn't be so bloop, and it'd be higher, and it would go bloop, 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 bloop. And then when you revved it up, it'd sound like a dragster. That's what this does. And you gotta mess with your computer a little bit. Upgrade your springs if you want to build your motor, your valves, your pistons. You could bore them out, put new piston rings in it,